Welcome back to Legislative Watch. My guests today have been Representative Darrell Boltz, who has been a sixth term in the Idaho State Legislature from Canyon County, and Representative Pete Nielsen, who is representing the folks from Elmore and Boise County. Representative Nielsen, we were about to get to education here. We've been talking about the budget, and you serve on the House Education Committee, and so I just wanted to get some of your thoughts about what's been going on lately, because education has been getting a lot of publicity. And it seems to me that Superintendent Tom Luna has been kind of under fire lately. And so I just want to get your thoughts on that and what you're thinking about that.
Well, the plan is should we say, a paradigm shift from what we're doing. And human nature naturally resists change. They're fearful of it. They don't understand it. And so there's always that pushback that's happening there, and that's happening big time. I think when the dust settles, because there's no question in my mind's eye that we're moving and have to move towards more technology, because that's what young people do. If I have trouble with my computer or my cell phone, I get one of my grandkids over and they fix it right up for me. So, and what I'm saying is when I was a kid and I went out and throwed the ball and played and did that kind of stuff. But today, kids don't do that as much as they used to. They punch buttons. They understand this technology, and we need to develop it so that they can use it in their educational pursuits. And it will also help us in reducing the cost of education, because they can take these online courses, and this has been proven in Utah and some of our neighboring states already. Through these online courses, these kids can even graduate with a one-year college credit, or even sometimes with an associate's degree, and they're doing this with technology. That's the only way they can do that. And this is the wave of the future, and we just make up our minds we got to start going there. The idea is being able to sell it properly, being able to promote it properly, and being able to move in steps that will not scare the public too much, or should I say, that will make sense so that we don't make too many mistakes going along the way.
How is this transition being received out there among people that are in education? I mean, whether it's teachers or superintendents, or is there any consensus growing on this? Or
there's a lot of resistance, and part of that resistance comes from the fact that because of the budget constraints and things like that, we could lose 700 teachers or plus out of the system, and how are those teachers going to be replaced? What's going to happen to class size? All of those things are in the fold, and it's a difficult proposition for people who are used to going. And this change is difficult, and it is fearful in many instances.
I think, Alan, the three things that I continually hear about in my emails and correspondence and such from constituents is class size, number one, because of the reduction of the 700 teachers. They're fearful of getting too large classes. The second thing is the number of computers. They don't like that. And then there's some other issues too, but that seems to be the primary thing, because they want a teacher in every classroom. They're afraid they're not going to be able to have that, and so they don't like the computers going to it, and then of course the class size.
So all of those factors come into play. Well, how would you compare Idaho then? Obviously Wisconsin is in the news big time, and the kinds of contracts that are in place with Wisconsin and the conflicts that are involved with that center around the fact that they're unionized and they have collective bargain agreements. But Idaho has those as well. And so how would you compare Idaho and Wisconsin then in terms of how they're able to deal with that kind of issue in the negotiations for salaries and benefits?
Well, I believe in collective bargaining. there should be that element there, but it doesn't mean that you all of a sudden only use that avenue, because that's why we have right to work. If all you had was the union, what's going to help keep the union in place and not start making abuses? Well, the fact that we have right to work, which doesn't necessarily work in the educational system. There are a lot of teachers that don't belong to the union, but nevertheless, this union thing has had a definite grip on our educational system in Idaho, and that grip has to be loosened up somehow if we're going to live within our budget, because the taxpayers spoke pretty loud at election time. No more taxes. I haven't had any of my constituents call me up and say, I'm willing to have more taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that's not exactly true. A few school teachers tell me that.
Oh, okay. Well, and the fact that if Idaho is a right-to-work state, and there are a few teachers that are not members of the union, do you get some feedback from them versus the teachers that might be unionized? Is there sometimes difference, or do they have to kind of be a little bit more discreet when they communicate with you?
Well, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes, unless, in their correspondence or how they contact us, will they indicate they're a teacher or not, because you get, I don't know how Representative Nielsen gets it, but I get emails from all over the state. I get a lot from my constituents area, but I get them from all over the state, and I have no idea if they're a teacher or not. And if they say they're a teacher, that's fine. If they don't, well, that's fine too. So I have no idea of knowing whether they're a teacher or not, and they might be either pro or against Tom Linda's plan. So,
and I will say this: I'm getting more email as of lately that are supporting this plan than I did at the start.
Yeah. Okay.
There seems to be a little more email coming in the last 2 or 3 days that is in support of some kind of change.
Sure. Well, taking advantage of technology, I'm hearing more and more about online courses. I took one in November. It was on a very interesting topic on American history, and the instructor was right there on the screen, and we were able to. And he stayed after class for 2 hours, and we chatted with the other students online. We could all type in questions to him, and he'd answer them. His face was right there on the screen talking to us.
And he could see your face.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It could be set up that way. Now, in this particular case, he couldn't, but he could see the questions that were being typed in.
Right.
And then he could address them to us. And we all, of course, by name. He could talk to us by name because we all signed in. And in this coursework, you could take it for a grade. So you'd submit a paper. And it was pretty interesting. Yeah. So I had a little bit of a taste of this, and I can see this expanding. We'll be right back.